Means that do it. Burger
Welcome to Airchexx, episode 4, hour 3. I'm your host, Ty Rosenau. Due to the length of the program, the first 2.5 hours is a Date with Chris radio show on the Armed Forces Radio Network. Here's part 3.
Oh, going through my mailbag, I came up with a letter from Sergeant Vernon, and he said that the boys who are with Company C of the 41st Signal Battalion at Cameron Bay would really like to hear Ray Charles with an oldie called Crying Time.
Oh, it's crying time again. You're gonna need me. I can see that far away look in your eyes. I can tell by the way you hold me, darling. Oh, that it won't be long before it's crying time. Now they say that absence makes the heart grow fonder, and that tears are only rain to make love grow.
The Vietnamese International School near USAID 1 regretfully announces that classes will not be resumed. Students are asked to pick up their report cards at the school office any morning from Thursday, 15 February, between 0900 and 11:30.
Time again, you're gonna leave me. I can see that far away look in your eyes. I can tell by the way you hold me, darling. Yeah, now that it won't be long before it's crying time. Now you say you found someone that you love better. That's the way it's happened every time before. And as sure as the sun comes up tomorrow, crying time will start when you walk out the door. Oh, it's crying time again, you're gonna leave me. I can see that far away look in your eyes. I can tell by the way you hold me, darling, all right now, that it won't be long before it's crying time. That it won't be long before it's crying
Oh, you can tell how much I like that one, can't you? I played it over and over and over again. You could tell by the scratches, I suppose. Little strange noises here and there, but Ray Charles still came through loud and strong, didn't he? Here's James and Bobby Purify with Let Love Come Between Us.
Not right, fussing, and you could do it this way. Let love come between us, and let love bring us together, and let love be born today. And let love live forever. I don't believe that you realize how much I need you, darling, and the way my heart cries. It's so hard for us to get along, and if you don't listen, baby, to the words of our song, let love come between us, and let love bring us together, and let love be born today, and let love live come between us, and let love bring us together, let love be born today, and let love live forever. Come between us, let love bring us together, let love be born today,
My goodness, we're back to the Beatles again. Here's a song of today. You've heard this many times on the show. I would like to dedicate it to Airman Ray and all of his buddies of the 69 21st Security Wing in Japan. It's called Strawberry Fields Forever.
Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to strawberry fields. Nothing is real, and nothing to get hung about. Strawberry fields forever. Living is easy with eyes closed. Misunderstanding all you see. It's getting hard to be someone, but it all works out. It doesn't matter much to me. Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to strawberry fields. Nothing is real, nothing to get hung about. Strawberry fields forever. No one I think is in my tree. I mean, it must be high or low. That is, you can't, tune in, but it's alright. That is, I think it's not too bad. Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to strawberry fields. Nothing is real, and nothing to get hung about. Strawberry fields forever. Always know, sometimes think it's me, but I know, and it's a dream. I think I know, yes, but it's all wrong. That is, I think I disagree. Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to strawberry fields. Nothing is real, nothing to get hung about.
Hey, all you boss men of Service Number 7, Thule Air Base in Greenland, and especially you, Spec 4 Jim, here's Elvis Presley with a song for you.
Tall, that's all. Right. Hey, you got me working, boss man.
Here's a special announcement. All employees of the U.S. Army Procurement Agency are urged to report for work at normal times Wednesday, consistent with current curfew and security regulations. I repeat, all employees of the U.S. Army Procurement Agency are urged to report for work at normal times Wednesday, consistent with current curfew and security regulations.
You know you're just tall, that's all. Big boss man, why can't you hear me when I call? Just tall, that's all. Right. I'm gonna get me a boss man, one's gonna treat me right. I work hard in the daytime, rest easy at night, big boss man. Can't you hear me when I call? Can't you hear me when I said you ain't so big. Just tall, that's all. Give me a boss man, the one that's gonna treat me right. Work hard in the evening, rest easy at night. Big boss man, big boss man, big boss man. Can't you hear me when I call? I said you ain't so big. You just tall, that's all.
The leader of this next group, called the Yellow Balloon, goes by another name, but his real name is Don Grady, and he's the young fellow who's on the TV series My Three Sons. I had the pleasure of working with him once, and he's a great, fantastic guy, and I know that he had been recording for a long, long time and couldn't make it with the name Don Grady, so I think he decided that by using a fictitious name that perhaps they would know it was Don, and, you know, people would give him a chance, and that's what he did. So here's the Yellow Balloon with an oldie called The Yellow Balloon.
I never liked the rain before. It always made me stay inside. There's one thing that I know for sure. I've got a reason to like it since you took me for a rainbow ride. It's rainy, it's pouring, but I don't care no more. It's like a yellow balloon on a rainy afternoon. And that's a yellow balloon. I never felt this way before. It's a feeling that I can't explain. One thing that I know for sure, I can tell you're feeling it too, 'cause when I'm walking with you in the rain, it's like a yellow balloon, it's like a yellow balloon, on a rainy afternoon, and that's a yellow balloon.
a song from Sandy Posey for PFC Robert and all the guys in the air evacuation office of the 2nd General Hospital in Germany. It's called Are You Never Coming Home?
Just sitting here, alone and downhearted. I should be out somewhere tonight, having a party. I don't know why I sit and cry, my eyes out for you. I should go out and have some fun, forget about you, boy. Are you never coming home? Come on home, if you're ever coming home. If you want me, you gotta come home and get me. But if you don't want me, send a card saying forget me. I don't know why I keep hanging on, waiting for you. But here I see a crazy moon waiting for you, boy. Are you never coming home? Won't you come on home, if you're ever coming home? I never knew what made you tick. You left me so quick. So hop a train, grab a plane, come home and explain, boy. Are you never coming home? Bring it on home, if you're ever coming home.
Here's the Sunshine Company with the Back on the Street Again.
I'm back on the street again. Gotta stand on my own 2 feet again. And I'm walking that beat again. Remembering when, oh, remembering when. Got a tear in my eye again, reminding me that I might cry again, feeling sad, wondering why again, remembering when, oh, remembering when. Once I used to think that the world belonged to me. Now it belongs to someone else. So I'm thinking of me again. That's the way it's gonna be again. Till the day I can be again. Remembering when, oh, remembering when.
taken. Composer for today is Herb's Hallucinations, and the song, Okay, Fine. Okay, fine, but it's not okay or fine because I have to leave you again, but I'll be back again tomorrow and I'll help you close out the week. Till then, bye, love. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
And the American Forces Vietnam Network.
That was the final part of A Date with Chris from the Armed Forces Radio Network, as recorded on February 14th, 1968, as heard by a service member through the AM radio over Radio Saigon in Vietnam. Chris Noel was an actress and a pinup girl during the Vietnam War. She recorded the shows for AFRTS in California and South Vietnam from 1966 to 1971. After her proposal from a helicopter, she wed a Green Beret soldier named Ty Harrington, who 11 months later ended up passing away from suicide in December 1969 from PTSD. Ty Harrington recorded a single in 1968 called When the Green Berets Come Home and Guns Don't Make a Money. Chris Noel dedicated most of her life from the time that she visited the VA hospital during the USO tour in 1965 to devoting her life to vets with PTSD today. Okay, I'm going to finish off the hour with a press conference interview of David A. Stewart and Mick Jagger for the composition of the movie soundtrack of Alfie, recorded December 29th, 2004. David A. Stewart, as you may know, is from Lily Was Here, as his famous jazz piece, as well with the saxophone jazz piece, as well as Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones.
Who's first up?
Let's see something right here in the front of the green.
Hi. Hi there.
Hi. Just want to ask you, when did you guys first become associated? And I know you've worked together before. When was it, and how did this come about for you?
Actually, I think the first thing one of the first things we did was Ruthless People, wasn't it? Mm. We did a song for this movie called Ruthless People, which is starred Bette Midler. And who else? I can't remember. Anyway, we did a song for that, and we got paid lots of money.
No, I think
which we then spent on worthless consumer items.
I think it was because I moved to Paris, and Mick and I became sort of friends in Paris, and we were always down this studio called the Grand Armée, messing about, and then, you know, we would just write songs for fun, and we've been writing songs for fun ever since, really, in various places.
We just did one just now in our break between press conferences. I'm
great.
not sure how good it is, but...
Hey, Mick, Sal from Premier Radio Networks. What's the biggest challenge for you in doing a soundtrack as opposed to your own solo material or a Stones record?
Well, the thing is that doing a soundtrack, you don't have this complete freedom to do what you like. You know, you have to write a song for a specific movie around a specific character or characters, and to fit in and to enhance a specific scene. So it's much more disciplined in that way, and so in a way it's kind of interesting because it's another form of writing. I mean, it's still writing rock songs, pop songs, or whatever you want to call them, but they're very much more. You have to get it right for the scene, which is, you know, it's rather interesting. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, there's a lot of other craft goes on that you have to then look at other scenes and make these themes for these characters work in other scenes. And so in one of the lead songs, like in Old Habits Die Hard, we have this rather happy-go-lucky version of this tune, Old Habits Die Hard, but when we put it in this other scene and slow it down and take out some of the instrumentation, it becomes a much more sort of romantic or a much sadder tune than it initially first appears.
And as a quick follow-up, where Stone's record or your own record, you know, the band is the sounding board and you guys are all in agreement that you want to put this out. With this, obviously you have to turn it over to someone else. Is that an easy process, or is that difficult for you to get the approval of someone else that it's okay for their film?
Well, I mean, we didn't really work like that for this. I'm sure sometimes it works like that, but you know, they knew what the songs, as far as the director, who was very supportive, Charles Shire, about this whole thing, and he never made a lot of. I mean, he had suggestions, but he knew which of the three major songs we were going to do and where they were going to do in the movie already.
I think, you see, you got to understand, we were involved for a year writing the score and all of the themes and the songs, alongside, you know, meeting with the director and various people. It wasn't like we wrote some songs and handed it to the director. I mean, Mick and I had to sit with the movie in various stages and rough cuts, and it was a real process, and it was a really enjoyable one. But of course, it gets quite complex because the movie keeps changing and editing. But I think for us, it was important to make sure that we established, you know, Jude Law as Alfie at the very beginning as this like real sort of Jack the lad, we kept calling him, who couldn't care less about, you know, what he was doing. He was just having a great time, and create a theme that could sound like that, but later on could be deconstructed and go dark and sort of off on a tangent when everything starts going horribly wrong. So Mick and I put a lot of sort of work and intellectualized a bit about all of that. But on top of that, writing the songs that fitted the movie, I think it allowed Mick to sort of step outside of himself and not be thinking always about, you know, well, this is for the Stones or this is a Mick Jagger thing. And in that way, it was great because he could be more reflective about something that was happening in front of him.
Gentleman in green.
Hey guys, I just interviewed Robbie Robertson last week, who did Ladder 49, and I was asking him, and I'd love to get your perspective on this too, that for years, Hollywood kind of steered clear of rock musicians. You know, even when The Graduate, it was kind of Simon and Garfunkel at the time that was kind of radical to utilize them. Mm-hmm. Just your own approach, why you think that is, maybe with the voice, and if also you could address specifically with this movie, where did you start? I mean, was it with a melody? Was there a particular lyric? Was there a line in the script?
But there's a very different thing. See, Robbie Robertson wrote one song for the end title of Ladder 49. We wrote the whole score.
No, and just using them in general.
But it can't really compare the two things, really.
I've not heard it, so I have no idea what it's like.
Well, it's a song that's at the end of a movie. It's not a movie score based on lots of songs and themes. And do you know what I mean?
Where we started was that we... as far as we were concerned, we had these. There were three. We thought we didn't want to write more than 3 or 4 songs because we didn't really need more than 3 or 4 complete songs. we needed more themes. We knew we would need more instrumental stuff. We knew, but we worked on having 3 songs which would fit primarily in 3 pivotal scenes in the movie, and then from there we worked on the instrumental stuff, additional stuff. We did another song which was an extra song we did, which I duetted with Joss Stone, which is it started off as an instrumental, and we made it into this vocal, and we took the 3 pivotal songs in the 3 pivotal scenes to get those right first. That's what we did. And then after that, as Dave was just saying, we took those songs and changed them. We changed the instrumentation. We changed the tempos. We changed the emotion of them, and put them also in other scenes in different versions.
My thing about Robbie was the accessibility now of rock musicians into playing Hollywood. It wasn't specifically about.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean that in the old days Hollywood had a very diffident stance towards rock music, though it continued after a while to take famous rock tunes and put them in movies a lot, and that started happening, say, 20 years ago, and it's a process that still goes on now from all periods of rock music. But for a long time there wasn't anything like that.
I suppose they always used to take a song, or whether it's Dean Martin or whoever at the time, and, put a song with a movie, whether it's Don't Eat the Daisies or whether it's like Cher singing the original Alfie. But going back through time, they would have like a score by, a famous composer, and then at the end there'd be a song stuck on by Frank Sinatra or whatever. And I think, it's only in recent times that, musicians have woven in, whether it's Eric Clapton playing guitar throughout themes on Lethal Weapon or whatever. Or
Ry Cooder in Paris, Texas.
Yeah.
That was pretty important for that movie.
Yeah, I think that's because, movie making's changed too, and the kind of themes that movies are written about are quite different as well. So, sorry.
Let's take one from the back in Maryland, and then the lady in the black and white up in the middle.
Hi, Mr. Jagger, the original Alfie, you're kind of an expert witness to the world of Alfie in 1966. What are your feelings about that original movie, and why did you want to contribute to the contemporization of that movie?
Thank you. Thanks for your compliment about my... I think that, to be honest, the original movie of Alfie, though I saw it at the time, I don't really recall an awful lot of it, except that it made Michael Caine into that character made Michael Caine a bigger star than he already was, and it also utilised that actor to camera that I don't recall having seen before in a movie, which is used, as you know, in this movie again. It's repeated and it's been used in quite a few movies subsequently. The Alfie character, this sort of the guy that doesn't want to commit to a relationship and so on. I think that's a character that's throughout sort of last 300-400 years in literary history is a character that comes up again and again. Young man has lots of girlfriends before realizing that he has to settle down somehow with one of them. And I think there's a lot of that character in all young men and young women. I don't think it's only something that fits into a so-called 60s lifestyle or indeed a lifestyle of today. I think that's a stock human character. In fact, perhaps a biological necessity for people at a certain age.
I think some people have got more stock of it than others.
Yeah, and that's what happens to Alfie, because Alfie's life is not very balanced, because Alfie is only interested in this part of life. He's not really interested in anything else. He doesn't have any kind of meaningful job or other interest apart from his love affairs.
Yes, miss?
Hi, Courtney Reimer from VH1 Radio. First of all, you work with 2 women on the soundtrack, Joss Stone and Sheryl Crow. I'm wondering your thoughts on both of them as musicians. And to you, Mick, personally, do you prefer working with women than men?
Than Dave, you mean?
A bit scratchy.
Yes, he's a bit scratchy in the moment. I prefer when he's shaved, but... Well, I also enjoy working with Sheryl, because I've worked with Sheryl on and off for years, but we seem to do only one song, Honky Tonk Women, so I'm very glad we get to do another one. She adds to that part of the record, the actual record of the Alfie soundtrack. I don't think that her version is actually in the movie.
No.
But and Joss Stone was really interesting because we always wanted someone to do the actual Alfie song, but we didn't quite know how we're going to do it and who was going to do it.
It was always, it's been recorded about 76 times, and it's probably one of the most covered songs. And of the 37 I managed to plough through, they were nearly all, really heavy orchestrations, and a lot of them leaning towards the cabaret sort of feeling, Barbara Streisand kind. And this didn't fit at all with, the kind of music that Mick and I had been making in the movie. So Joss Stone was a great, she's very young, 17 years old, and obsessed with sort of blues, gospel, R&B singing. And so we just stripped the thing right down with no orchestration and a Hammond organ and a piano, which had been used on all of the score, and she sang live to that. And I must say she's an incredible singer and did it in 2 takes,
In 2 takes.
After learning it in an hour, which is
a very complicated song, Alfie, because all I can remember is the first line. But actually, when you hear it, it's very convoluted and it goes all over the place. And I'm glad I didn't have to do it.
Let's go back, Marilyn, and then here, and then here.
Mr. Jagger, just a question about your day job. Wondering how Charlie Watts is doing, and also if you can confirm or deny that the Stones are going to play the new Wembley Arena in 2006.
I don't know who's going to be ready first, the Wembley Stadium or the Rolling Stones. But no, Charlie's a lot better. He's had all these treatments and he's been pronounced sort of free and clear of everything. So that we're very pleased about that. And the Stones have got a live album coming out in November, which is a double live set, which is 1 CD of well-known songs and another CD of not very well-known songs. And and Keith and I have been writing new material for the Stones' next album. I don't know when the Stones will actually tour, but I suspect we'll do the album and then we'll do a tour. So I don't know anything about this Wembley story. This is the Wembley hustle story, but it's quite fun. And I actually flew over the new Wembley. For those of you that are not familiar, we had this big stadium, like giant stadium, and they knocked it down, and it's been a sort of one of those endless stories that will they ever build it up again, and it's been going on and on. But they are actually building it, so I would love to play there.
All right, over here, yes.
Yeah, hi, Mick.
Hi.
Eugene Key from WBAI. Could you tell me what the similarities or differences is when you're writing a song with Dave than your usual partner?
Well, I write songs a lot with different people. I've written quite a lot of stuff with Dave. I've obviously written a lot with Keith, and I write a lot on my own. And there's hundreds of different ways of writing songs within that formula. I just spent like 2 weeks writing songs with Keith, and some days they are like songs that I'm just there on my own, and Keith walks in and plays the bass on what I've written. And some days it's the reverse, and I go in and play the piano on something he's written. Dave and I have a kind of... we're very, very concentrated, and we're quite detailed, and we get everything finished. And Dave forces me very much to finish everything, and I force him to sort of finish everything. So we're very
That's
kind
just
of...
because we're trying to get out.
Yeah, we like to do our work and get it done, because, you can spin this out as a lifestyle if you want. We can spend weeks doing this. And Dave and I are very precise. We have lots and lots of ideas between us, and we say, that's a great idea, and that's not... We throw them out. So we're not like bereft of ideas.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of different stuff. And then we concentrate very, very in very short bursts of work, and we put down everything on our Pro Tools and whatever computer setup we have immediately. And we tend to use all the stuff that we've freshly written. We use that in our subsequent recordings most of the time. Though we do put other musicians on it, we do try and re-record it better, but quite often we use our original stuff.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. You had a question, and then we'll go over to the gentleman in the black. Here. You got it? I got it, yeah. All right.
Thank you. Hi, Mick. I put my Koya that. You're living a life right now that will someday make a great movie. and I'm wondering, how does it feel now when you get up on the stage, if you can just compare to what it felt like the first time you got on the stage? Is it still a thrill? Is it a different kind of thrill? How does it feel?
Wow. Of course, it's the same. It's the same thing. You get in front of an audience. It's it's a similar feeling whether you got up when I first started to when you get up now. So, in a lot of ways, it's exactly the same. So, and I think that the thrill, the excitement that drew you to that in the beginning is the same excitement that draws you to it now. And someone asked me a similar question earlier today. And the thing about it is that you never really know what's going to happen. You never know what the audience is going to be like. You never know how they're going to behave. You expect them to do certain things, but they don't always do that. And you don't always do the same things that you've done the night before. And I think it's that's what brings you into live playing, makes live playing so interesting, as opposed to, and being in the studio is something much more under your control. So they're two very, very different things, but I think it's the same thing when I started as it is now that draws me to it.
Okay, the gentleman in the black, then here, and then we'll go in the back of Maryland.
Hi, Mick. Gene Triplett with the Daily Oklahoman. The DVD of your TV show that never saw the light of day, Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus, has just come out on DVD. I just wondered if you've looked at that piece of film lately, and what feelings might have run through your head, and how you feel in general about watching old film and tape of the early Stones.
Well, I did when that came out that came out on video. I don't remember, relatively recently. I watched it, and it was a very amazing day, and that wasn't just a run-of-the-mill day with all these people. And what was great about it was having all these different people that you knew. Some of them you knew really well, like John Lennon and The Who, and all these people, all together in the same room for one day, and having to get on with it, doing this mad show. It was a really fantastic day when you look back and think, how did I get through that one day doing all these things? I mean, it was just incredible, and I think it is a really amazing piece, and some really wonderful people on it, a whole list, and a lot of people got cut out that were fantastic as well. But I think the DVD has a lot of stuff in it that wasn't actually out on the original tape of it, so it's fun to watch.
All right, gentlemen in the glasses, and then we'll go in the back of Maryland.
Hi, Mick. What's the good side of being an icon, and what's the bad side of it?
Question. Oh, dear. I don't really. It's such a big question. I don't think I can really handle it today. If you don't mind, I'll pass.
All right, let's go in the back of Maryland. In the back of Maryland, and then the gentleman right here.
Okay. This is Jolie from Hong Kong. Playboy is kind of a young man thing, and rock and roll don't grow up. How you think a Playboy is different from being a rock star?
Oh, Dave, what can we do with it? 2 in a row. How do you think a Playboy is different from being a rock? There aren't any Playboys anymore. They don't exist anymore. It's rather sad, really. They wrap themselves around trees in badly driven sports cars many, many years ago. And, so I don't know what the difference is. And I've always been a very sort of career-minded person, and any vague resemblance to my life to a Playboy is merely coincidental.
Gentlemen with the dreadlocks in the middle.
For Dave, are you working with any other artists right now, production-wise? Are you working on any other projects?
Say that again, sorry?
This was for Dave. Are you producing any other artists right now, working with anybody else?
I just been working with Gwen Stefani on a solo album, and I'm always working with new young artists, up and coming. So I've got working with about 7 of them, and various other things. I'm making an album myself, the first duo I've ever formed with a girl since Eurythmics.
What's she called?
I'm not saying right now, but you just talked to her on the phone.
No.
And we're like we're about 3/4 of a way through our album, and it's probably the most exciting thing I've done in 20 years.
Cool. Talk a little bit more about working with Gwen and the songs you did with her.
Well,
can't tell the truth.
I know she's great. I mean, she's very quick, and she's very she's very quirky, as you probably have guessed, and she's very quick at working with words, and she writes very personal things and she's great to work with. I mean, I wrote Underneath It All for No Doubt last year, which was with Gwen again.
Which I saw her perform in the bar of a hotel in Canada.
That's right, yeah. And after she told me, yeah. She couldn't believe it. She was like...
Because we were on tour with her, and she did this song. I didn't know Dave had written it, actually, at that time.
But, Carol?
Time for one more question, gentlemen in the window here.
Mick, what is the future of your acting career, and what do you think about the endless cycle of rock stars and rappers doing acting, having been on both sides of that particular divide?
I enjoy doing acting. If you get a good part, it doesn't happen very often that I get offered really good parts, and there's so many actors that they never get very good parts, so it's very competitive. But there's lots of good people out there that can sing, dance, and act, and there shouldn't really be any great division between this. I mean, there never really was, and it's only in the last few years. I mean, people that specialise in one field sometimes get really annoyed that other people move into it, but I don't care. A lot of people in this field can do all those things to varying degrees of success, and I don't see why not. And I admire people that can do more than one thing.
Dave Stewart, Mick Jagger, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, ladies.
We're out of time. I know I said that I was going to feature the BBC broadcast of Wet, 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 but then again, sometimes my back timing's not always correct. Anyway, I will bring in the bonus hour of Airchexx coming up next. Well, I hope you enjoy Airchexx. I'm your host, Ty Rosenow. Our podcast is uploaded every Saturday and Sunday, so I will see you Saturday, same time and same channel.